Every week, there's a new post from a junior developer asking the same question. Did AI just close the door on my career before it even opened? So instead of guessing, I went and read through what actual hiring managers and engineers are saying about this right now. And the answer is more specific than yes or no. Here's the split you'll see everywhere online. One camp says AI is quietly giving companies an excuse to hire fewer juniors. The other camp says the fundamentals, debugging, understanding why code breaks, communicating clearly matter exactly as much as they always did. Both of those camps are right, just not in the way most people expect. The first thing that stood out to me, the bar for entry-level work has gone up, not down. One engineer put it simply with AI. Almost anyone can now build a basic web app that would have genuinely impressed a hiring manager back in 2021. So that kind of project alone no longer proves anything. What proves something now is being able to explain why you built it that way. Several engineers described interviews shifting toward more system design style questions, even at the entry level, not necessarily replacing classic coding rounds, but sitting alongside them. The interviewers care less about which framework you used and more about whether you can walk through the reasoning behind your choices. So the skill that used to separate a good junior from a great one, explaining your thinking, is now the minimum bar to even get considered. This is the point that came up again and again. Before AI, you could sort of coast by copying patterns you didn't fully understand and nobody would notice until much later. Now, that gap shows up immediately because AI can generate a working demo in minutes, but it can't defend the decisions behind it in an interview. One senior engineer compared it to blindly approving a junior's pull request. You wouldn't do that, and you shouldn't blindly trust AI-generated code either. So the fundamentals didn't become optional. If anything, they became the thing that's actually being tested now, just wrapped inside a different kind of question. Not can you write this, but can you catch what's wrong with it? Here's the part that doesn't get said enough. Some of the shift happening right now has nothing to do with individual skill at all. One hiring manager laid out two separate problems happening at once. The first is long-term. AI has taken over a lot of the small maintenance and bug fixing work that used to be handed to juniors as training wheels. That doesn't erase the need for juniors, but it does mean junior work now has to include more ownership and initiative, not just execution. The second problem is short-term and honestly more brutal. A lot of companies simply overstaffed for a world that no longer exists. And nobody yet knows exactly how many roles that translates to in layoffs or frozen hiring. That uncertainty is landing hardest on entry-level roles because senior engineers can now absorb small tasks that used to justify hiring a junior in the first place. That's not a skills problem you can fix by learning harder. It's a market correction and it's temporary in a way that raw skill decline wouldn't be. So, if you're trying to break in today, here's what separates the people still getting hired from the people getting ignored. First, build things that show ownership of a messy, unclear problem, not just a finished tutorial project. A clean CRUD app now reads as, I can prompt well. A messy problem you solved and can explain reads as, I can think. Second, get comfortable talking about AI directly. Multiple hiring managers said they're now specifically probing candidates on how they use AI tools, what they catch it getting wrong, and where they don't trust it. Not because AI experience is a nice to have anymore, because it's become part of the baseline expectation. Third, go deeper than the surface of your own code. Some interviewers are now asking things like why a certain line was written the way it was, or what trade-off is being made in memory versus performance. That used to be a senior level question. It isn't anymore. So is AI taking junior dev jobs? Not exactly. It's taking the version of the junior developer who could get by on a polished looking project and not much else. The juniors still getting hired right now are the ones who can own a problem, explain their reasoning, and use AI without hiding behind it.